what's the date? Sorry, we're mid-August.
18th of August.
You're mid-Edinburgh.
Yeah.
I've come back from holiday, I think.
You came back from holiday 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been back from holiday for a while.
Yeah.
So Oppenheimer, I would have already been back, but we probably won't address that. So yeah, no, I think this is a lull period for me. I don't see myself doing too well on the 19th.
Do you not think?
No, I think I'm very wistful.
Okay.
There's a lot of looking out of windows without knowing what to think.
So that's my permanent state of being, but you're quite rarely wistful, I think.
Yeah.
So
okay, we need to talk like it's the present, by the way. So I don't know. There's just like something in the air at the moment that I can't quite put my finger on.
Yeah.
But there's I think obviously the news has been tough to digest.
What happened? What? Oh yeah, I remember. Of course.
Well, of course, another victim. No, 2023 has claimed another victim of our childhood heroes turning out to be sex pests.
John Tickle.
Basil Brush.
Basil Brush.
Basil Brush has come out and he's been.
Basil Brush. You kind of now looking back, you're like, of course he was a sex offender.
The man's called Basil Brush.
Yeah.
Is he a fox or is he not?
Yeah.
He liked that hand up him a bit too much.
Exactly.
And then, was he soliciting pictures or was it physical stuff?
I think Basil Brush was brushing up a bit aggressively against some ladies.
To the makeup artist.
Exactly. I think his stardom, it came out that in the 90s at the BBC, I think stardom went to his head. And I think he used his power as being the only fox who works at the BBC. Is Basil Brush a fox?
Yes.
Yeah. What was his catchphrase?
Boom, boom. And he made a bit of a boom, boom.
Exactly.
Boom, boom.
Yeah. And he because he wanted to boom, boom.
How resentful would you be if you were the man operating Basil Brush?
And it came out.
No.
Well, it did come out.
It did, obviously. But let's talk about before this terrible news. Well, how resentful would you be if you were the man operating the puppet and like doing the voice? Maybe they're not the same people, but I always think that for puppeteers. Basil Brush was huge.
Yeah,
you couldn't walk down the street without someone mentioning Basil Brush back in the early noughties.
It's a good question.
And if I'm the man there with my two fingers in him,
well, I think it depends what you want from fame, and what you want from success, and you'd wonder if someone went into the art of puppetry, you would think that in many ways they sort of shun the spotlight.
Right.
You'd think that the puppeteer as a type is someone who likes the kind of voyeuristic pleasure of watching his creation become famous.
Shall I say that in a succinct manner? A creep. All puppet guys are creeps.
You'd be hard pressed to find a non-creepy one.
Do you remember Punch and Judy?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Is that an English thing or was that just like a vaguely medieval?
100% an English thing.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that on Brighton seafront and I just remember it's domestic violence.
Completely.
They were hitting each other with, bats, sticks, hardened
the
rods.
one thing is didn't the wife gave as good as she got, right?
Yes, Judy certainly had an attitude on her.
So and she did, not to victim blame, but she did marry a man called Punch. I know that's not. I'm not saying that's her fault, but he was always that way.
Clues in the name. Like, I get it. He shouldn't be doing it, but maybe don't put all your eggs in the punch basket because they're going to crack. No, it was their faces. Their terrifying little long noses. They look like witches from Shrek.
Yeah.
And the big red cheeks and the mouths and the fact that there was someone.
Of the narrative?
No, not at all.
Honestly,
a bit traumatizing.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at childhood memories.
No.
Nor are you.
Probably because of Punch and Judy, that sort of...
Yeah, it goes Punch and Judy, parents divorce.
That's
in terms of
yeah.
things that make me forget stuff.
Do you have your first memory?
I always make one up.
Okay.
Because I don't. Because I'm like, how can you compartmentalize? Like, I don't think anyone actually knows their first memory.
I think that's a good point. I don't think anyone knows.
Everyone's
I have a lie that I tell myself.
Exactly.
I remember waking up in my... Oh no, because I remember something before that, so I don't know.
I remember there was one time that someone kept pushing me on it because I don't know what my first memory is. I've got a few vague memories.
What? Tell me one of them.
I was just when I was under a Christmas tree looking through the thistles.
How old were you, do you think?
I don't know. I haven't got the foggiest.
23 years old.
I haven't got the foggiest. Yeah. Oh, I know what's in here. Breaking all the presents because I'm jangling them too hard.
Your earliest memory.
Yeah. No, I think bullshit. I mean, I'm really bad at this.
Yes.
But that makes me honest about I think, a lot of people's downfalls here. I think it's bullshit that anyone can be like, this is definitely my first memory.
Yeah. I think my sister convinced me that my first memory was like 9/11, but I don't actually think I remember it. Do you remember 9/11?
No, not at all. How old? When?
Well, because I have the memory's clear, but I don't know if it's the memory I've been told.
But I loosely remember, because what's quite good for me is I moved a lot.
Yeah.
So I've got...
And you were friends with Mohammed Atta as well.
Yeah. From a really young age. Who's that?
He's the head. He was the mastermind behind 9/11.
Yes. How could I forget? Yeah. Yeah. And because I was only, 4 at the time, so it was odd that we were unlikely pen pals, some might say. But I'd remember being, because I can say different houses, and there was one house that I was only in for like a year or two, and I do remember looking at my sister's CD collection, and it was Steps, the band, and I remember her listening to Steps, but I think I must have been.
Do you remember an emotional?
I was like, I kind of like that. That's the truth. A lot of my sisters, she would be playing like her with her CDs and CD racks, and she'd have like a stereo player, and I'd be like, oh, this is quite. It was like my first interaction with music.
Well, it's interesting because I've been working through this in stand up
and therapy.
I hate that I said working through this in stand up.
Yeah.
I've been writing jokes about this in stand up. Just on stage, I've just been working through it.
Fighting the demons.
About the weird situation of being a guy with an older sister, which is a very specific experience, I think.
Yeah, potentially.
Because it's like you have, you're kind of shaped by women from a very early age. So all of their tastes come through at a very early age. And did your sister beat you?
She scratched. She was a scratcher. Please continue.
Did you have that moment? Because your sister's the same age difference as mine.
No, I think she's 1 year older.
Okay, so roughly.
Yeah.
So my sister was a violent criminal for at least 12 years.
Yeah. And so, I've met her. She was horrible to me.
And she still is to you.
She still beats me.
But so there's that weird thing where she used to, when we were similar strengths, she would give as good as she got, you know?
Yeah.
And so my view of women was they would, if they wanted something, they'd take it physically.
Not to be trusted.
And then around 12, 13, I do remember she was
12, 13?
Around, a long time ago.
Medieval, baby.
Yeah.
I forgot you were a medieval child, yeah.
She was, I think, beating me up, and I said enough, and I pushed her off the sofa.
Raw.
With a strength that she didn't realise I had, because I was hurtling through puberty. And I saw that look where she realised that I was basically stronger than her now.
Yeah.
And things were a little different around there.
Right. Suddenly there's a new sheriff in town.
Exactly. But then, it did turn into emotional abuse, which was far worse.
Yeah.
I left, physical abuse is actually, you can understand it more. There's a simplicity there. But the gaslighting and the lying,
it's the old
the emotional Cold War is actually a lot more damaging.
It's true. The old sticks and stones adage doesn't actually ring true.
No.
Scars heal.
Yeah.
Childhood trauma doesn't.
Sticks and stones I can understand.
Yeah.
But words I never will. But words will always, confuse me.
We got the name of the episode there. I don't... I think my sister was too busy fighting her own inner demons to fight me.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But when we did have our altercations, she was a scratcher. So I remember the scratches, like because a scratch, I wouldn't fight back. I was very peacemaker from a young age. How old? I was. It's like asking me how many stars are there in the sky.
Sure.
I was probably be 4 to 7, and my mum's gonna go. My mum's gonna go. You were 8, you fucking idiot. And I'll go. Stop listening then. Stop listening. If I get everything about our childhood wrong, don't fucking listen if it's that annoying. So I don't know. What do you mean? What was your question?
I was just thinking if in my head, when you're a kid, you don't think about gender power dynamics when you're like 6 or 7. So if my sister's slapping me, I'm slapping her back, right?
Yeah.
But you were still being like, you were 5 years old getting pummeled by your sister and was still thinking,
but I wasn't getting.
A gentleman never hits.
I don't know. I'd love to ask my mum about this. It wasn't a magnanimous decision.
No, it wasn't.
I wasn't standing there like a holier than thou 4-year-old going, now that's not how we deal with issues, is it, Melissa? No, I think I don't really remember what because we didn't physically fight loads to my knowledge.
Okay, so
she definitely scratched, and I'd be like, "What the fuck is going on?"
So it was Truth and Logic. You destroyed her with Truth and Logic.
Precisely, which would probably be crying to mum, saying, "I'm bleeding."
Andrew destroys.
I remember being shocked, being like, "I'm bleeding." Yeah. She scratched me, and I'm bleeding out of my arms.
Yeah.
And I'd almost go to mum, maybe more in disbelief, being like, I'm bleeding.
Yeah.
No, but I can't. We weren't. As I said, I think she was too busy battling her own inner to battle me.
But I think having an older sister does. Like, I feel you're inexplicably shaped by it because. Well, I don't know about you, but most of the things I watched growing up were quite feminine. So, like, the shows that I'd watch would be like Desperate Housewives, Ugly Betty, 90210.
I actually swerved those because Melissa actually had quite good taste. Misfits.
Yeah.
Misfits, a bit of Skins I caught.
Yeah.
Skins was a bit too...
But these are all gender neutral shows.
Yeah. But these are like the shows of the time. Yeah. Like Misfits, I remember that was my first experience of fucking lit television. Yeah. Misfits was great. But no, I don't know. I didn't really end up watching those. I didn't watch... I think it was me if it was a music thing. Because I still absolutely... It was when... And Glastonbury last year, the year before.
Yeah.
Not the poop one.
Poonami.
Not the poop one.
Sorry, just the side
Nor
note.
is it called Poonami.
No, Poonami. Have you seen that advert on the tube?
No.
Horrendous. So there's a Nappy advert. Well, there's an advert on TV and it's on the tube.
Yeah.
There's a Nappy advert, which is talking about to stop a Poonami, we've got this poop flap in the nappy and there's a smiling poop drop. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, and there's an advert, and it's saying like to defend against the next Poonami, and it's like a tsunami killed. Many people have died from a tsunami. It's quite a serious.
Thousands,
millions.
In the history of the world, millions.
Yeah, lots of people. You know,
and you're a nappy company.
You can't be using Poonami.
What right do you have?
It's not a silly, fun thing. This is a lethal tidal wave that's wrecked people's lives.
You sounded pretty woke there, mate.
Well, it's true. I am when it comes to tsunamis. Because
I think
that's
tsunami,
my one thing.
You have like you're not. You'll be laughing away, and then someone will be like, "Oh, like a Poonami." But what? Do you know how many people have died? Yeah, no, I've got no problem with it being used.
What, the Poonami?
I actually my biggest question.
It's just a fucking.
Oddly, I thought you were being. My biggest question for that advert is like, isn't a nappy just one big poop flap? You know what I mean? What is there? Just another flap? What's the point? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's new. They're always, and I love it when things like nappies have new technology. Don't you love it?
Yeah.
When the ads is like saying like this revolutionary technology.
It's when they demonstrate it via a visual aids on a TV advert. Yeah. You know, you see like water going down, and there's like arrows, and then absorption lines, and then it bends. It bends to the bottom. It's a weird advert. You'll never see more baby nudity than on a nappy advert. And it's of course it's acceptable, but there's something I don't want to see how well a baby diaper contours a baby bottom. I'm trying to watch Skins.
And it's also like how different are nappies? I mean, I don't know, but just having that.
You are pretty ignorant.
It's true, yeah. But I don't know how much I'm.
I will go back to the question: is surely a nappy is one big poop flap?
Well, I think that I don't fully remember, but I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure someone will. But I think it's sort of like a flap within that stops it sort of shooting up the back.
What the fuck?
I think. Well, it must be because it's sort of a flap within the nappy.
Okay, talk to me how poop's shooting up.
All I know actually is that there's an image of within the nappy, and there's a dancing poop drop. With a smile,
right?
And there's a dancing water drop.
Confused message. I'd welcome the poop drop rather than want to absorb him. But continue.
Poop and water, in harmony.
Dream team.
And then, and then they disappear up this flap within the nappy,
and it goes up.
It goes up.
So surely that's kind of against what you're saying, because you're saying you don't want the poop to go up.
No, it's stopping the poop flying out.
Again, why?
I don't know. That's all I know.
I'm sure,
you've got the same information as me now.
Yeah, and I'm sure the parents of the pod, the parents of the people who are...
It's all right, Drew. It's not your fault, Drew. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. The parents of the poop.
The parents of the poop. The poop of the parents. Was it the poop of the parents pod or the parent? Who are the parents? Where's the poop? Parents of... friends? Fans of the podcast who are parents.
Okay, yeah, I got that. Yeah.
We'll tell us what's going on. Stop, enough. What was going on before that?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I completely interrupted you.
No, it was worth it for a
You were talking
No, I've got
about
it.
nappies.
No, I've got it. Again, don't go off over there. Sorry. We're over here. Glastonbury last year. This is about we're back talking about our sisters, relationships with the sisters. Mine's very music based because last year I was with Elle and she was like, I want to go and see McFly, and I went, I think I got too much dick for that, love. And then she was like, no, let's go and see it. And I was like, okay. We went and they started playing. And it turned out I knew every word to every song.
Really?
And that has started a bit of a McFly-assance with me. Very rarely will I leave the house and go to somewhere with music in and not listen to a McFly song.
Really?
McFly are fucking lit. They have some of the best songs out there.
What?
Musically, that's 10 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
So what...
Obviously is the best one, probably. I mean, if you look at some of their more melancholic ones...
Yeah.
They're just gorgeous. It's gorgeous songwriting. They're gorgeous songwriting. They're actually a 10 out of 10 band.
So you think they're very underrated? Well,
but they're not really.
Got a tough rap at being. They kind of get thrown in the same thing as Busted.
Well, that's about exactly what I was about to say. The comparison is quite frankly nonsensical.
So are Busted and McFly both British?
Yeah,
and they're like the British take on pop punk, right?
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah,
I think so. I'm not great at that.
They're kind of it, right?
Yeah. Kind of.
It's those guys. That's it.
Yeah. And it was the thing that was like the coolest fucking thing in the world for our sisters. That kind of...
Yeah, Busted. My sister was more into Busted.
Well, we were a McFly household because we had taste.
Okay.
That was a fucking shot fired, by the way, to your sister and you. But yeah, I guess they were. But it was like the best thing ever. But it lasted for a few years. And then it became the lamest thing ever. But then they, like, people who love McFly fucking love McFly and they're like diehard fans. But then there was McBusted. Lest we forget.
McFlurries as well.
Well, that was what my dad used to call McFly.
What, McFlurry? As a joke, one of his japes?
One of his japes.
Is it in with Holly Willoughby?
It was exactly the same as that, even though we've realised that was a Keith Lemon bit.
Yeah, I knew that the whole time.
You should have said.
Oh, sorry. So
well, I thought then
you thought it was a. I thought
it was a BK original. a whack original.
No.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know that.
I should have told you.
Oh, don't do that face. You're making it worse.
I should have told you.
No, you just should have said it on there. Because I went, as soon as someone said Keith Lemon, I went, oh yeah, it was him, wasn't it? It wasn't like a key childhood thing for me. We then put it on the internet and everyone was like, that was Keith Lemon, your dad's nothing.
It's important to you. That is a shame. But yeah, McBusted. What was that? Was that when...
A combination of the two. Does what it says in the tin.
Fine. No more questions, Your Honour.
Yeah, they did like a tour... Maybe it all died down.
They did a nostalgia tour.
Yeah. Do you remember the time where like Matt Willis, like there's Matt Willis from Busted. There's Danny. Oh shit, Danny, and he's not the main guy, but Danny's got the voice that goes like, "Argh!" Which was actually
not ringing a bell.
Genuinely a 10 out of 10 impression for all you McFly fans. They're going, he sounds exactly like that. There's Danny and Danny and loads of others. Tom Fletcher. Those are like the
I know Tom Fletcher for some reason.
Because they kind of became mini celebrities. Matt Willis is with Emma Willis, who's now Emma Willis, who presented Big Brother.
Okay.
That is that era. Big Brother presenter.
Goes straight to the top.
When the presenter of Big Brother dating the lead singer of Busted were
Poonami.
like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Poonami? Was that? Poonami? Is that what you've got to contribute on this podcast? The word Poonami. Jesus wept.
That's what happens when they come together.
I was dissecting the culture of the mid-noughties, whenever the fuck it was.
I'd say
teenies?
They come together and create
Poonami. How would you do that nappy advert? Because I do an actual tsunami of shit, and with like
I do the aftermaths. I do families searching for their young children through the wreckage
of
poo.
Yeah. Good. I like that a lot. That's great.
That's probably how I do it, and I do it as a sort of I do it as like one of those appeal aid ads that they might have after the tsunami, which is like for £3 a month you can help the survivors of the tsunami.
Or what you can do for £3 a pack, we can stop devastations like this ever hitting the world again.
Yeah,
because your child shit so much is killing people. That's the
causing a poonami.
It is a poonami. I am surprised. I think tsunami you're allowed to use. Are you not? I feel like any UK-based water park you go to, there'll be a attraction that's based on a tsunami. There'll be like the tsunami swirls, or
do you think? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, there's a wave pool. Okay, another controversial opinion.
Go for it.
Who gives a fuck about wave pools?
Yeah, we went to one in Centre Parks.
That was a particularly bad wave pool.
Okay, so now you're defending wave pools.
No, I'm not. I'm giving wave pools a fair hearing.
You just acted immediately like you were the biggest fan of wave. Whoa,
No, I'm giving them a fair trial.
Fine.
Because like we can't judge wave pools based on the Centre Parks Longleat wave pool. That was awful.
So you know, fine.
That was far below the average of wave pools.
Fine.
Even the best wave pool in the world.
That probably would be sick.
I'd want to go on that actually. Yeah. But like the average wave pool, you're going up and down.
Yeah, but it's for families, isn't it? Is it? Well, it felt very much at Centre Parks. It really felt like there was a lot of families there.
Yeah, no shit.
And
what great analysis. There's a lot of families at Centre Parks.
5 young lads. It really did feel like we were bumming the vibes out.
No shit. Oh, do you mean in the wave pool?
Yeah,
okay.
Because
I thought you just did like the worst take on Centre Parks ever. I was like, we did an episode on that. You're like, there was a lot of families at Centre Parks. It was kind of weird that the 5 of us went. It's like great. So you think without us, the wave pool would have realised its full potential?
Last week, I went back home. Where was it?
Last week. Yeah.
It was last Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post.
I went back home briefly to Lewis, where my mother lives. And Lewis is an ancient town.
Full of ancient people.
And I found something that once again re-establishes my... The Middle Ages will never stop surprising me.
It's true.
It's always been the funniest period of history, but I always feel like, all right, I get what's funny about it.
Did the Crusades come within the Middle Ages?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The medieval period is fully... Basically, as soon as the Renaissance hit is when it ends.
Yeah.
So
once we started appreciating culture.
That's when we
can't sit in the bog anymore.
Yeah. But end of the Roman Empire up until the Renaissance is as funny as humans probably will ever get.
Yeah.
And I keep finding out stuff about the Middle Ages that further proves that point. And Lewis, being an old medieval town, is filled with this sort of stuff. And
it's very like you can sense it when you're in Lewis. There's a castle. It's very like
it's very
stony.
Yes,
and hilly.
We were checking out the graveyard where we shot Heart Attack Hitman. I don't know if you vaguely remember that.
I do. Why?
Because I was like, we shot Heart Attack Hitman now. I haven't been there for 10 years.
Wait, so why did you... What was your... Well, how did that end up that you and your mum decided to check out the local cemetery?
We would go for a walk and we passed it.
Yeah.
So we went in there and it's an old... It's like a 1200s church. And in there was... I'm always reading the signs. Yeah. For little gems like this.
Tidbits.
And I saw this... Before I saw the sign, I saw this really old stone slab door with... a language I didn't understand, similar to Lord of the Rings, you know, when they're going into the mines,
yes,
and he touches it and it all lights up, and it was similar. I was like, I don't even know what language that is. What's going on? Right. I thought it seemed Elvish, but it was actually Latin. But I needed to find out what that language was. It was Latin.
Was it not Anglo?
And the door
Saxon
was actually leading to the door of an anchorite.
The door led to a door of an anchorite.
Yes, so the door led
right. Or to the quarters, the anchorites' quarters.
The anchorites' quarters. An anchorite, all right, is a...
So this is read out the description word for word.
What is an anchorite? Okay, so in medieval times, a man wishing to follow a strict religious life would be sealed into a small building attached to a church. So the building's not an anchorite. The person in the building's an anchorite. Once walled in, he would not leave the building. That's a full stop. There's nothing more. There's not.
We'll not leave the building unless
it's a full stop. New sentence.
He shall remain in the building.
So
the end.
Once walled in, he would not leave the building.
Remain there. Period.
He would not leave the building.
I love that it's almost like no reason, no caveats. He shall not leave the building.
Once walled in,
once sealed into the building, forget it.
He would not leave the building. A servant would bring food and remove waste via a hatch.
What do you think waste is?
A poonami.
Precisely.
So he has a poonami hatch.
Let's hope he doesn't have a poonami in there.
Yeah.
In that sealed room that he's not allowed to leave.
The anchorite had a narrow window or a squint looked into the church and gave a view of the altar so that he could participate in religious services. That's all we have on an anchorite, okay?
Seeing him... can you put the picture of him on it?
It'll be there.
Maybe. But right, we'll get into the hilarity of the situation of him there. But seeing... The funniest thing for me would be, right, I'm a Lewis resident. I'm an inhabitant of Lewis. Is
this the 1200s?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm the local friar. No, that's religious, isn't it? I'm the local blacksmith. I've got a wife, 3 kids.
You're respected around town.
One of my kids died a bit too early, but everyone else's did as well.
You've got 7 kids.
Exactly. No, I've got 3.
But 4 died.
But 6 died, yeah. I'm only 32. But so we went...
You're going to die in 3 years.
Yeah, I'm wearing one of those what kind of material?
Everything you're wearing is made from the same material.
Yeah, but what is it? Yeah. But what?
Your shoes,
like linen-y.
Yeah, it's one massive slab of linen, and you've made your shoes.
I look like a stone.
Your shoes, your trousers, your top, and your hat are all made from the same.
One material, same colour. I look like I'm hiding from something. I look like I'm trying to camouflage as like a rock. Okay, but I'm a respected man about town. I'm the town blacksmith.
When your shoes and your hat are the same thing,
it's like one of those hats with the little dangly things. Same colour as my trousers, shoes, and top. Right? I'm respected around town. I'm the blacksmith. I help people out.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to battle myself, but I've made the swords for the people of battle. So
you're a domestic hero.
I'm a domestic hero. I'm not necessarily the guy, but I'm part of the town's apparatus.
Sure.
It's Sunday. And there with my wife and 3 kids.
3 kids.
And as is, of course, going to happen, I'm going to go to church on the Sunday.
Have to.
So I go there, I sit down. The priest stands up and starts, getting things underway and whatever. But just before he is about to start, there's this kind of small slit in the window over just behind the priest. And I just see this little troll man... Trollman with bloodshot eyes just pop his head up and turn it slightly diagonally so he can get both of his eyes through there, and he just appears there for the entirety of the service. I go up and get communion, he's still there just looking, and then on my way, and as the priest says, "Peace be with you, and also with you," he just slithers back in, and then that's the only time I see him.
So the person who stayed in that building, Alcave, whatever it is, was a Danish knight who, upon returning from the Crusades, I think one of the Crusades,
a knight,
it was mainly it was high end. It was like noblemen who did it.
Oh, I thought it was almost...
Because he's a servant.
It reeks of a punishment, doesn't it?
It does reek of a punishment, but it's not.
Piety.
There's a servant who has to look after this guy in many ways, so it is a noble thing.
I would say looking after might be a stretch of bringing him basic food and removing his shit.
But there's just...
Looking after.
The logic is incredible. So he's lived a seemingly quite an eventful life. He's a knight who's returned from the Crusades, and now he wants to commit himself fully to God with no other distractions. So he says, "Seal me in."
Yeah,
it's the fact that there's no way out. He has 2 things: a hatch, so he must shit in a bucket and then leave it out the hatch.
Yeah.
Do you think? I just wonder if I'm in the. I mean, I guess you are crazy and religious, but I just feel like you would surely lose your mind.
You can't not.
You can't.
How
not.
much can you truly appreciate God? I mean, it could be almost meditation, I guess.
Yeah.
Their prayer will transcend into meditation at that point.
Yeah.
I think it's impossible not to. It's like being in a sensory deprivation tank your whole life.
And then also,
one that you shit in.
Are you? I wonder if you're allowed to change your mind. Can you stop being an anchorite?
I think because it's nobleman, then because surely it can be like, guys, I've made a terrible mistake. I think I could get closer to God without having to be sealed into a room.
And I feel like if you're in I mean, I guess everything stinks because of the Middle Ages, but having this stinky... He's not showering ever.
Yeah.
He's not going to...
How long, to just say, there's a few unanswered things from it, because I want to know how long they would he go in there till death?
He would not leave. It was open-ended. He would not leave.
Yeah,
right,
but
let's go on Wikipedia, actually.
Do you want your other seltzer?
Yes, please. So, fascinatingly, even though the first anchorite was in like the year 300 in like Syria or whatever, anchoritism, whatever it is, became incredibly popular, very popular in England. So nearly all the anchorites.
Everyone else went no thanks, and we went, oh, sounds like a bit of me.
Something that really made me laugh about an anchorite is that an anchorite is someone who would, for religious reasons, withdraw from secular society to be able to live an intensely prayer-orientated, Eucharist-focused life. While anchorites are frequently considered to be a type of hermit, unlike hermits, they're required to take a vow of stability of place, opting... I like that, a vow of stability of place. You were in a fucking cell.
I shan't leave.
I
vow to remain.
Opting for permanent enclosures and cells, often attached to churches. What made me laugh is that anchorites had a certain autonomy, as they did not answer to any ecclesiastical authority other than the bishop. I think there's just
you're locked in a room.
There's something so funny.
You're shitting in a room.
There's something funny
well,
about...
at least I don't answer to no bishops.
No,
you're pooing in a room.
No, he answers to the bishop, but below the bishop, he doesn't need to answer to.
Oh, so he does answer the bishop.
Yeah, he answers to the bishop.
Right. At least I don't have to answer to no priest.
Exactly.
About what? What's there to answer to when your only existence is eating and shitting in a room?
So there was actually a recent anchorite.
At least no one's telling me how to shit.
Annoyingly, I'd love to see an anchorite. I'd love to see an anchorite.
Oh, big anchorite guy, honestly.
Can you imagine being able to just peek in and see an anchorite? Would you want to see an anchorite?
I would feel so bleak afterwards. I would traumatize me forever.
But there's a consensualness there, right? They chose to do that to themselves. Therefore, surely it takes a lot of the... It does make it it's just funny. It's not sad, right?
Oh, it's not funny. It's hilarious. It's hilarious looking back on it. If there was a modern day anchorite...
There's modern day anchorites. So an American woman who basically is clearly a nut job went to Rome and became an anchorite in one of the churches there. And she died in 1990. She was in there from 1945 till 1990.
What?
Yeah, so that's the most recent anchorite.
When was 19 what?
So 1945 to 19... Let me read that.
The last anchorite.
So...
1990.
Nazarena of Jesus. So most anchorites were women, by the way.
Of Jesus.
She called herself... So she says, Nazarena of Jesus. I was
going to say.
Her actual name's Julia.
Where's she from?
Was an American who felt called to become an anchorite and entered the Camaldolese Abbey of Sant Antonino in Rome in 1945.
The Italian language really sings off your tongue.
Remaining there until her death in 1990. Let's see. Oh, there's no pictures.
Well, I don't think it is. I don't think it's a picture situation, is it?
Well, I mean,
anchorite isn't like all come and look at the freak.
I mean, if you're the last anchorite,
well, we don't know. There could be more.
Well, it's the last recorded one on here.
No, that would be one of the saddest things I've ever seen. It's like it's peeping into. It'll be hard. Like it's peeping into a hostage. I know they're doing it willingly, but there's no way that you're going to look into that room and you're not going to feel like your world is shattered.
Yeah, I guess, but it's not a hostage.
I know, but
she's fuddy loving it.
Like, look, religion.
She's praying herself silly.
Sure. Should we maybe say, I don't think you should do this? Should we maybe give you a fucking hand? Do you need a hand, love? That's what I'd say. If I had a moment, I'd be like, do you need a hand, love?
But a lot of people struggle with life and reality.
I don't think the answer is being an anchorite.
I don't know, but
do you think that's the answer?
A lot of people
just
struggle with the pressures and responsibilities of life. If she did find some solace in being an anchorite, anchoritism. If in anchoritism, then maybe it isn't a sad thing. Maybe it is someone who's taking control of her life. She's not hurting anyone.
How many years was she in there?
45 years.
Where was she?
In Rome.
In what?
In a cell attached to a church in Rome.
A what?
A cell.
A cell. So a sealed room. Like, what was she doing?
Well, she had a squint, probably.
She's an anchorite, not a slave.
she's got a squint. It's not even a big window. It's a narrow
She's an anchorite, not a hostage. No, I don't think any... Look, medieval people, get on your bullshit, slay queen, you do you. I think,
But modern,
if there's anyone post the 1600s anchoriting, I'm saying then we should step in.
Yeah.
I think there's a moral obligation
to ban anchoritism.
Yeah. I do.
It's an interesting question.
It's not
because it's an interesting question about freedom, isn't it?
It is.
Should you have the freedom to enslave yourself?
Which is weird. There's a question. So that is a thing. I've heard that in a different example.
Yeah. Would you ban anchoritism in the UK?
It's a great question, and I'm actually going to have to think about it for a couple of seconds.
It could. I mean, obviously there could be loopholes where someone enslaves someone and pretends they're an anchorite.
Well, no, but that's obviously that's
that aside.
Bad. We're saying pure anchoritism. Vintage anchoritism.
Eat, sleep,
old
anchorite,
school,
repeat.
Old school anchoritism. By the book.
I mean, eat, sleep, kind of shit. Eat, sleep, shit, repeat. Eat, sleep, pray, repeat has never been more true than for an anchorite. Yeah. Because that really is kind of it. Eat, sleep, shit, pray, repeat.
I'd argue you'd go so like how? Oh God! I guess you'd go so insane that you'd hallucinate all the time.
All the time.
So therefore, that would be their getting in touch with God.
Yeah.
Because their mind would make up stuff because they've got no stimuli.
And I bet they don't even have like a comfy chair in there. You know, you can just imagine.
They don't. They're an anchorite. They've got nothing. They've got nothing.
I bet they've got a wooden chair and that's it.
Oh, it's a horrible
I bet they
thing.
sleep sitting down.
Would I ban it is an interesting question. Because it's not. It's like I'm leaning towards a no, but it's not an easy no in the slightest.
Are they doing home workouts in there?
No. Ratio. The modern day anchorite does not need to be in a cell in a church in Rome. They need to be in a mental home.
What about a rom-com? Okay.
Oh, now we're talking.
Where it's probably best to do it in the Middle Ages, but I'm open to ideas where
Anchor the right guy will come along.
Who's funnier to be the anchorite, the man or the woman?
Ryan Reynolds.
So Ryan Reynolds is playing a medieval guy. He can't be the anchorite.
No. He's the love
anchorite.
interest.
He's the love interest. So there's a woman who's an anchorite.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't work in the Middle East.
No, I want a man.
You keep changing your mind.
I know. I want a man to be an anchorite.
Who'd be the funniest anchorite? Alec Baldwin? No.
We can't afford the insurance.
We can't.
This is a tough one because it's not. You don't want a pure comedy because then it will go too into the realms of aren't anchorites silly, and we're not saying that.
Okay, all right. Well, maybe it's not medieval.
McConaughey would be good,
but he would be good dramatically.
Exactly, but he would be a bit silly. Because the role's going to be a little bit.
But seeing McConaughey in there, I wouldn't immediately laugh. I would be like, it's noble to be an anchorite because he has such charisma.
He's got the face.
The comedy is you fucked it, lad.
Sandler.
No, for some reason, no. It's a tough one. Kevin James, more likely.
No, too much. Kevin James for me is a hard no. Sandler, I think more because there's a goofiness, but it's,
Brian Gittins. I mean, that might be on the 2 on the nose.
I think it's 2 on the nose.
He would crush it though. Him or Joe Wilkinson would absolutely crush being an anchorite. Yeah. I mean, they're built for it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But what about a rom-com?
Rob Brydon.
Rob Brydon would be pretty good.
There's someone out there who's perfect for this, but
maybe it's set. Let's take this woman who went in there in 1945 and came out in 1990. What would happen if
she didn't come out? She died.
She died. She never came out. That's the point.
That's very important.
As I said, they would enter the building and would not leave. What about? So she's in there, and then it could be a romantic lead, a Ryan Reynolds type. He's exploring Rome, and then hears about this anchorite, and then sees it through.
Wait, are we setting this in the time of Julia, the anchorite from America?
Let's just say for now. Or we could do it modern days.
I think let's make it the noughties.
Yes, noughties, fine.
Oddly historical, but not.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird nostalgia.
But part of me thinks, imagine this, where for some meet cute means that they have this back and forth through the squint.
Through the squint. Eye contact through the squint.
Yeah, you could barely make it out, but that makes it more romantic because you
just see one eye.
Love at first sight.
Love is blind.
Love is blind. Yeah, Love is blind. So it has that sort of thing going on, and then he starts. She's been in there since 1945. Yeah, and let's say it's even 2012, so the internet's been around. Yeah, he starts showing her YouTube videos.
So first they meet cute, and
there's a meet cute.
There's an eye to an eye. There's there's something between them that's indescribable that she can't. Bearing in mind, he can see all of her. Yeah, she can't see all of him.
I don't think he can. It squints. I
still think it's got to be the male has to be the anchorite. Maybe we can make it a bit more because I think classically it would be the male.
Yeah.
It's like a Hunchback of Notre Dame situation.
Interesting.
Whereas I think let's reverse it and make it a female, even though it's ringing. I think it'll be funnier for a guy to be in there. There's something that it doesn't sit
but
well with audiences.
romantically, it's interesting. The idea of him showing her like YouTube videos and blowing her mind.
Oh, no.
Well, it's the hero's journey. Refusal of journey is one of the key.
No, I know.
So at first she turned it
Don't
down.
show me. She's trying to stay pious.
And then when he keeps coming back, she's like, I thought more about that Gangnam Style video you showed me. And I would much like to see more of this.
Kind of quivering in the corner.
Is he the king?
Yeah.
She has no idea.
Is he your ruler? Yeah. The big question we have to ask, and it's the only question about the ending, is does she become ingrained within normal society, or does he become an anchorite as well?
That's a great question.
They could have conjoining anchorite cells.
I'll tell you what it is.
Conjoining anchorite cells, because they couldn't be in the same cell, because that's not true anchoritism.
It's not true anchoritism. I'll tell you what it is. I think he breaks her out constantly thinking, he convinces her she wants freedom.
Right.
He breaks her out.
The final act.
She can't deal with the freedom.
An epilogue.
And then she realizes, look, though I love you, I love being an anchorite more, and I don't feel comfortable in this world. This is not the world I left 1945. I don't understand this world. This world doesn't understand me.
That's why it's funnier in modern day as well, because she can be going around like Oxford Circus.
Exactly.
And stuff.
She doesn't understand
when
it.
she's been in a cell in a Roman church for the last 20 years.
Yeah. And so then she's like, I'm going to go back to being an anchorite. And then he decides to be an anchorite to be closer to her. So you have both, but it ends with them both being anchorites.
He decides he loves her more than his freedom.
Yeah. And they're not in the same cell, but their squints are facing each other.
And that's your final shot.
So they're squinting at each other.
Well, they don't squint, do they?
You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
They've got a full view.
You wouldn't further impair. You're forced to squint.
What? I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, and then it's like, I think it's like the final scene, the final shot would be kind of like a cross section of the two conjoining things, and like the two lights reflecting through the different squints, so they're separate but together.
That's lovely.
There's
something in there.
Zoom out.
There's something quite powerful there.
Anchoritism.
It's can't be called anchoritism.
It's called anchoritism. How about an anchor? Finding the anchorite guy.
That's great.
Done.
Yeah. That's great.
Every one of these things, I'm like getting closer. I actually love that.
There's something there.
There isn't.
She needs to be like stupidly hot, I think.
So ugly when she's in the thing, and then But I
think it's funny, like Hollywooding it up. I think it's funny having Margot Robbie in there.
Yeah.
So you make it dumb. You make it.
I think blow dried hair. Quite like a minimal but decent makeup on, but with just like one splodge of mud on her face.
There's no attempt.
Yeah.
Full cleavage.
In like cloth. kind of dirty cloth, but just like her tits have clearly got like a push-up bra on.
Or we make it weird and we say that she has glasses on in there. And she thinks she's ugly, and the only ugly thing about her is that she's wearing glasses. And when she comes out, and he takes the glasses off when she comes out.
She's breathtaking. Well, no, that could be the first intimate moment between the first kind of physical intimate moment that he'll reach his hand through the squint, take off her glasses, and then go, wow. Yeah. A lot of it happens through the squint. That's
So are you thinking the squint's thick enough to get a hand through there?
I think for our part, we might have to Hollywood cheat it. I don't think in reality it would be, but I think we're going to have
This is movie magic.
Yeah, we're going to have physical contact before. She's not... Before...
Or he makes a claw. No, I guess that would be the same. It'd be the
same. Well, you can go like that. No, we need... Well, obviously, we'll add... It will be a very difficult... He won't be able to easily get the hand
I love the idea of not being able to get the hand through, because they're so romantic about that.
And then
Yeah. I think he can't touch her.
No, but a bit. Well, it depends what movie we're making here. Are we making a Monty Python comedy, or are we making...
I think it's serious.
Pretty Women?
I think it's Pretty
Then we've
Women.
got to get the hand through there.
I think it's Pretty Women.
Then we have to get the hand through there.
Why?
Because you can't... That's too silly. Then we're satirising... rom-coms. We need to make it a real rom-com.
There's something quite funny as well, which is that he can only see like a slither of light in there. So it's once again, you see like a flash or something, and he can only see her tits.
Well, that's like... You're now trying to make the hungover games. Well, because you could have that he can't really see her, and then when she eventually disavows her anchoritism, and he's met her for like a week, he goes, oh shit.
Oh, so there's like a catfish sort of moment.
Catfish, yeah.
Which should look like an actual anchorite, which is like absolute shit.
The skincare routine isn't going to be great. Well, your skin wouldn't be too bad because you haven't been exposed to too much sun.
Do you know what would be yeah, that's true. That's very true.
No need for SPF in the anchorite hole.
No alcohol. Alcohol and sun are the big two that fuck skin up, you know?
Yeah.
For my sins.
Then again, I'm not sure the hydration is good. Yeah. General sanitization, you know, I think alcohol and sun is probably the factors for worsening skin in people that don't live in a sealed box.
Yeah. I would like to try and explain certain things to her. Like try and explain, don't speak to me before my coffee. Try and explain that to an anchorite.
Millennial culture.
That'd be tough. That'd be a tough way.
Because she's, I guess because... Yeah, there's so much to get. There's a huge bridge to get there.
Something that we might run into. So we've got Margot Robbie in there. I do think it might kill the romantic vibes. The kind of there's an undeniable sexual tension. It's similar to Romeo and Juliet. You know when they look through the fish tank.
Yes,
I'm imagining that sort of level of romantic tension being built when they're looking through
squint,
the
course,
via squint. Yeah, squint-based romance. She is shitting in a bucket in that room. Remember, which I imagine only gets taken away once a day.
He's a progressive male lead, though,
so he doesn't mind.
He understands that women are women.
But us as filmmakers don't understand that because we've cast Margot Robbie as the anchorite.
Right.
So I think that kind of goes against our toxic worldview.
Does Margot Robbie not shit?
Well, no, she doesn't. When did you see Margot Robbie shit on film?
In Finding the Anchorite Guy. Why?
Well, it's just I just wonder if like we'd have to. There's not many things that the anchorite does, and one of them is shitting.
Yeah.
So you'd have to sort of deal with it
a lot. We're gonna have to follow the male around a lot because when they're not together, the action in the anchorite room is pretty fucking minimal. Because there's no one. There's no one to talk. No, there's not. We've got the other character of the servant. God. They can have the conversation.
I thought you meant God.
Yeah. Well, no, we can do surreal and go into some God stuff.
Yeah, God.
But no, but she can have you can have a kind of B story with the servant.
What about
the
God?
servant's in love with her as well?
Love triangle.
Love triangle. That's Anchorite great. Triangle. The servant's in love with her as well.
And we keep it that classic McConaughey style rom-com.
And he was like, no, you can't leave. You can't leave. You vowed to God. But he kind of wants to have the conjoining anchorite rooms with her, but he's never got the green light. And then his heart's broken when she decides to leave.
Well, the servant actually, I think, he keeps saying that he wants to be vowed to God, but he also knows that she doesn't love him. But that one moment a day, well, twice a day, he brings her food and he collects her shit.
That one moment a day, then that's what he says to someone. He can say that to the priest.
Well, is this the emotional bit?
Yeah, when
end?
he's poured his heart out to the priest and it's like, the happiest I will ever be in my entire life is that one moment a day I go and collect her shit.
He would say waste. He would say waste.
Waste, yeah. Waste is funnier as well. It's more subtle. I go and collect her waste. So yeah, maybe, or okay, right, this is a bit better. He's in love with her, knows he can never get her, but wants to keep her in that room because is forced.
That force, but that small relationship he has with her, that's enough to sustain it, and that's enough to sustain
exactly. And so when this new guy comes around, and then he tries to kill him, has a plot against the guy, maybe not kill him, but he needs to. Yeah. That's our antagonist.
I also think
this is now actually shaping up into a film.
I mean, also, one of the messages would be the Ryan Reynolds character, whoever it is. I think maybe Ryan Reynolds is a bit old for this. I don't know, but.
You think of Sham Sham?
A question needs to come around 75% way through, at the beginning of the third act. Who's the real anchorite? There needs to be There needs to be a question.
Are you saying there's a question whether the male is there?
Well, I'm just saying, I might be stuck in this cell, but you're the real prisoner, or something like that. Who's really stuck?
We can touch on the kind of we can touch on the high streetification of Rome. And all that, and well, maybe not high street, but the posh shops.
Close to my heart.
Yeah, no, I didn't mean to. The capitalization
high streetification
of grand,
Rome,
grand things. Yeah. Now Rome is just one big shopping centre, and our male lead is the chauvinistic, materialistic man.
Who's the real prisoner?
Who is the last person you would ever think would fall for an anchorite?
Yeah,
but he does out with the power of love.
And then she makes him see. He has a thing where he finally says, "What the fuck are you doing, babes?"
Who?
Ryan Reynolds, let's say, the male protagonist. He's like, "This is crazy. You're a prisoner." And then she's like, "Am I a prisoner or are you a prisoner? I've listened to your stories for the last 5 weeks." Yeah, go on.
Oh, he looks down at his Gucci shoes and then looks back up. And then she continued with the dialogue. That's just the
She goes, I've been listening to you for 5 weeks, and all you've ever talked about is your Gucci boots.
Yeah.
Your
and he
knee-high...
never takes those Gucci boots off.
No, he has knee-high Converses as well. I think it's a good...
Fine. I'll concede.
He's just got loads of different pairs of shoes on.
Yeah.
And it seems like in many ways, though I might not be able to leave place, my mind is free, whereas you are a slave to the knee-high Converses that you wear I think it's knee-high Converses he wears every day.
We've accidentally introduced new ones. We've made the film. Well, that's it.
Thanks, guys. That is... what's the name of the film?
Finding the Anchorite guy.
With Ryan Reynolds and Margot Robbie.
Maybe. TBC on cast. I don't love Margot, but we'll see.
If you guys have any thoughts, because we're trying to develop this as a script, so if you guys have any thoughts for how to develop these characters, casting choicing,
score.
Yeah. We've got 3 main characters
producers,
to cast.
Yeah. 3, well, yeah, but there'll be like the best friend of the guy, a female.
Dude, like they're doing batting practice.
No.
Dude, what the fuck are you doing with that Anchorite chick?
Yeah, love it. Great. See you next week.
Yeah, next week.
Oh.
Nice. So yeah, bye.